Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom while we're still on mics.
It's so nice to see you all in your homes. I know like Saturday morning, we do this with a live studio audience, so to speak, but it's so nice to do it in the evening with you all as we welcome in Shabbat, especially after a very intense week. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The beauty of being on Zoom is that you all can control the size of your screen. So for all of those of you watching either Facebook or YouTube right now, just know that there's an additional enticement that you don't have to look at the Siddur in, this big, huge box if you log on to Zoom with us, because you can see more of these lovely things.
An additional enticement that
So
you don't have to look at the Siddur in,
I'm going to go ahead and mute.
big, huge box if you log on to Zoom with us, because you can see more of an additional that you don't have to look at the Siddur in.
All right, is anybody else logged on double?
I think we need to mute Arnie's. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. There we go.
There we go. Yes, the joys of Zoom. So now you all understand why when we started out with all of this, we decided to do it with just the clergy because we weren't sure what kind of strange snafus we would run into. But now we feel like we've kind of got it all figured out. But thank you for the reminder that we don't. So nice to see you all. We're going to get started. I am going to bring up our Siddur, our virtual Siddur, so that we can pray together this evening. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Okay. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Myself, Rabbi Sidney, and Josh Niehaus, we're going to be leading you in prayer. But for everybody who's logged on with us this evening, who would like to participate in any way, go ahead and leave your cameras on so that I can call on you if you want to do a reading. If you don't want to participate or you don't necessarily want your lovely punim on the screen, just go ahead and turn your cameras off and I will not call on you to do any readings. But the beauty of being live is we can be just a little bit more participatory. So let's get going with a little Hine Matov. Josh, kick us off for the evening.
Hine Matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine Matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Beautiful. And I know Rabbi Molly was on the lookout for somebody who would like to light Shabbat candles. Ellen and Roger, were you on for tonight to light candles?
Actually, this is our second service of the day already, and we at present are not set up for it.
All right. Well, if anybody else is set up for candle lighting, great. If not, I am. So, going once, going twice. All right. So, as these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generation of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. So please join me as I kindle a little bit of Shabbat light and blessing tonight. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
All right. And now we move to the blessing over our wine. Adele, I saw that you had some wine during our pre-neg, so raise your glasses high if you have a symbol of joy, of simcha, to bless tonight and bless our Shabbat, our 25 hours of rest. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim.
I am.
Elizabeth is getting into the spirit. And then finally, okay, so I have a little fib to tell you all. Before tonight, we were actually doing services a little bit earlier than Shabbat. We were pre-recording at like 2-ish. And so it wasn't that I wasn't having challah on Shabbat evening. It's just it wasn't ready yet. So we generally do make challah every Friday night. So I hope you have a loaf to enjoy. If not, you can show me your beautiful chalot next time. So Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Te'avon, everyone. All right. And so now, this has been such an incredibly difficult week for many of us, for our country, for our legislators, for everybody who believes in democracy and freedom. And I think much of the world watched somewhat aghast at what happened this past week. And so tonight, when we sing Shalom Aleichem, the words of may you come in peace. That is our greatest hope, is that when we see people approaching us, they approach us with love and with peace in their hearts, and not hatred or rancor or as an angry mob. So when we sing Shalom Aleichem tonight, let's send that wish out into the world that we might be able to approach everybody with peace and love.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharei, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
You may be seated. Roger, would you like to read this for us in the English?
This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly. On the border of light, what lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Abravim.
Amen. Thank you, Roger. So now Josh is going to lead us in an alternative version of our Ahavat Olam, the great love that God shows to us, especially on this day of Shabbat.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Ahavat Olam, Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael. What a great love, a great love, what a great love you have given us. What a great love, a great love, what a great love you have given us. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Ahavat Olam, Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael. What a great love, a great love, love, a great love. What a great love you have given us.
Sandy, would you be willing to read this for us?
You were God, and we were Israel, God alone and a lonely people long ago. You loved us a great love, and you taught us how to respond through recollections, celebrations, Torah. They are the light of our eyes, the uniqueness of our being. In the joy of them, you have drawn us close to you. In the truth of them, we have discovered you. We are together still. You respond to every people in your chosen way. With your love, you have chosen to respond to us. With our love, we offer you our praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem Emet. Elizabeth, would you be willing to read this for us in English? Elizabeth, you're muted. Elizabeth?
Passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Did you not hear me?
We heard you beautifully for the last 4 sentences. It was great.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. There's always little glitches when you start something new. So, so now we're going to sing our Song of the Sea, our Micha Mocha. Josh, take it away.
Yai la la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehidar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh pele, nora tehilot oseh pele. מלכותך ראובנך בוקע ים לפנו משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם Yai la 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 la. Yai la la, yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la.
And I don't think ever before in my lifetime has the Hashkivenu prayer been so important and the need for it so palpable. What we experienced earlier this week in the Capitol has not just been an isolated incident in Washington, D.C., and it is not likely to just be an isolated incident of this past week. And so we ask God to protect us, not only the Jewish people, but all Americans, all freedom-loving people who wish to see peace. We ask that God spread over us tonight a Sukkot Shalom, especially over the next few days and weeks and months ahead.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha, lechaim ushalom, me'atza ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomrei, nu lechaim.
And we rise now as we are able for our Amidah, our standing prayer. If you're praying along with a Siddur at home, we're on page 46. Adonai tzafatai tiftach ufi yagid tahilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher chastei avot ve'imahot, u'mevi'u la'livnei b'neihem, l'man shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibur le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah, Rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, mechalkel chaim mechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim merofeh cholim, umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato lishanei afar, michamocha bal gevurot umidom helach, melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua. ונאמרת לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. And now for our Vishamru, giving thanks for Shabbat as part of our Amidah.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל הוציא לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפל וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
Take a few moments now for your own silent prayers and meditations and reflections this Shabbat evening. And when you're done, please feel free to be seated.
Oh, say shalom, be Ramav. Oh, say shalom, be Ramav. Hu yaseh shalom.
Sydney, you're sharing your email.
Yaseh shalom aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, peace down. Oh, say shalom.
So in case anybody was wondering what I was doing, I was bringing up our Misha Berach list, which is ever growing. And so on this Shabbat evening, there are so many people in our community that we're thinking of and praying for the fullness of healing, of a refuah shlema. We're thinking of one of our congregants, Valentina Darachovsky, Azrael Early, Rohan Early, Tara Landry, Myra Masig, Orly Sherman, Amy Thornton, Deborah Newman's Castingay, Lindsay Robinson, Laura Armstrong, Stacy Hetzel, Diane Turner, Michael Sirkin-Poole, Jacqueline Tara-Smith, Kalina Suzawa, Deborah Rose, Sid Rubin, Liliana Oxsmith, Hans Wheel, Phil Grinker, Benjamin Dominitz, Terry Callett, Pam Shane Johnson, Eileen Kreisman, Ronnie Haber, Sherry Schnabel, Carlene Ackerman, Scott Bush, Lisa Bush, Sarah Rose, Mary Ann Witten, Mary Wilhite, Brenda Wally Soren, Stuart Soren, and Abby Wagman. Are there other names?
Patty Ritzman.
The Rucker and the Carter family.
So now we join together in the words of our Mishaberach prayer, asking them for a healing of mind, body, and spirit.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mekor HaBracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So I'm sure as I talk to you tonight, many of you have been glued to the news and looking for some glimmer of hope that things are going to improve in our country. I know that many of us had feared that the scene that we saw this week was exactly what would come to pass. My sister who was sort of the eternal pessimist, had warned me that she was very leery of what might happen, especially if Trump claimed voter fraud. And I didn't deny that it could happen, but I had hoped it wouldn't. Now we know that our democracy is much more fragile than at least I wanted to believe it was. And we are faced with a very divided nation. And I've been reading news coming out of different countries, especially out of Israel, who, for the most part, has really enjoyed the Trump presidency, to see what the political pundits are saying in Israel. And even in Israel, the more conservative newspapers are saying it is time that Israel divorces itself from Donald Trump, that it is an unhappy marriage, and that Israel will become synonymous with Trump, who may very well be brought up on charges of sedition. And although I haven't seen the pictures, I know there were Israeli flags among the Confederate flags that were being flown at the Capitol. Now, do I believe that everybody who was there was part of a mob? Do I believe everybody there was intending to riot and loot the Capitol building? No, not at all. But the scene that we saw coming out of Washington, D.C. this week was chilling for me as a Jew. I can't help but think of two very real moments in the history of the Jewish people. One was Kristallnacht, the night of breaking glass. And as those rioters broke through windows to try to get into the halls of Congress, all I could think was how Jews have faced down angry mobs throughout our history. My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor, and she faced down an angry mob. I'm sure many of her ancestors also did the same in Russia, in Eastern Europe. There is nothing more terrifying, or there should be nothing more terrifying to us as Jews as an angry, unfettered mob. Now, I've also seen footage of Capitol Police, not all of them, but a few, allowing protesters into the Capitol building, ushering them in. And yes, I am worried about the protections that we might think we have, but don't, as this situation descends. The other very, much more ancient event, as I was looking at the pictures of, middle-aged white men in camo sitting at legislators' desks with their feet up, or smoking in, the Senate chambers, or doing any other number of crazy selfies as they defaced different US seals and furniture and statues. I couldn't help but think this must have been a very similar scene that our ancestors saw when the temple was destroyed. The Capitol building is not our temple, but it is the American temple of democracy. And to see it defaced in the way that we saw it this week, with a horde of people running through with no respect for our democracy, or our institutions of a free and fair election, was chilling. But I was reminded by a member of our class, our Explore Judaism class, which is primarily people looking to convert to Judaism, that Jews after the Holocaust said never again. And it's not a hope, or it's not a wish. It is something that we are willing to fight for. It is something that we are willing to ensure does not happen again, and not just to us, but to anyone. And so as we go forward into this week, this month, this year, which so many of us were praying would be better than 2020, but is not shaping out yet to be that, we say never again. We are not going to let our democracy fall to a populist mob. And we will defend our rights, we will defend our faith, and we will defend each other. What's most important is that we have a community. We're not going to let each other fall or fail. And so in the next few days and weeks ahead, I'm asking you all to stay even more connected. I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but stay more connected to each other than you have for the past few weeks and months. Because we need to have that sense of community, of security, of safety with community. There will be many opportunities in the near future for us to get involved in ways that ensure that our democracy survives. I'm almost positive of that. But we first and foremost want to make sure our community survives. And so with that, I'm going to ask each and every one of you this week to pick up the phone and call one temple member that maybe you haven't seen in a while, maybe you haven't talked to in a while, and just reassure them by letting them know you're thinking of them and that you're there. We are stronger if we stand together. I don't think this is all doom and gloom. I think we will get through this. This is not the end of our democracy, but we need to make sure that it is something that we actively work toward protecting. So make a mental list in your head right now of the people you want to contact this week, the people that you want to reach out to. I'm making my own mental list. And pick up the phone and call them. We are a family. TBT is a family, and we need each other now more than ever. So I wanted to thank you all for being online with us tonight. It's not without some glitches, but we'll get it smoother in the future. What I am hearing, the good news is that many people are, even within our community, are starting to be vaccinated. And as that starts rolling out, even rather slowly, hopefully it will pick up a little bit. It means that we're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And I've had some discussions with board members about how and when we reopen safely. And we are optimistic that it could be sooner rather than later. We are not there yet. I promise you, we are not there yet. But seeing hope on the horizon is very positive for us all. That being said, there are many, many programs going on right now at Temple B'nai Torah that I hope you're taking advantage of. We have our Explore Judaism class on Tuesday nights. Rabbi Molly has her Tuesday mornings blessings class, her new blessings class on Tuesday mornings. We still have our ongoing, This Too Is Torah study at 11, along with the Laylet at 9. And on top of that, Rabbi Molly is now also teaching a Thursday Talmud class, midday Talmud class. And within the next few weeks, I'm going to add a Musar class, a Jewish self-improvement study class, and perhaps a Jewish meditation class. So there's lots of different ways to be involved in learning and community over the next many, many weeks. So I'm encouraging you all to take part in that. Donna, do you have any temple announcements you'd like to share with everybody tonight?
Thank you for asking, Rabbi. I do not have any temple announcements. Just want to say Shabbat Shalom to our community. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for this lovely service.
Thank you, Donna. All right, so we're going to move back to our virtual Siddur. And we're going to conclude our service, move toward the conclusion of our service with Aleinu. And if you're able, please rise. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שמחלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad. You may be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who've departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat evening, we have several names to share with you. So first, we'd like to remember the Shloshim of Rebecca Miller, the aunt of Janice Broomer, and Howard Lehrer. We'd also like to remember the yahrzeits, the anniversary of the deaths of Edwin Abelman, Sam Argos, Jean Baer, Samuel M. Bookie, Ignacy Broomer, Debbie Kaplan, Marlene Malka Fricks, George Goldberg, Adolph J. Greenberg, Theodore Hollingsworth, Betty Jacobson, Katie Kay, Roland King, Anne Klein, Audrey Marilyn Norton, Michael H. Paul, Leon Prasow, Jerry Rosenthal, Dorothy D. Schimmel, Ruby Trotty, Mary Winston, and Morris S. Yar. Are there other names? We rise now as we are able in solidarity with all of those who are in mourning this evening and say together in ancient words, Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yortei v'yamlich malchutei, be'chaychon uvyomachon uv'chaye dechol Beit Israel, ba'gala v'zman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha b'richu, le'elam en kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Israel, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Israel, ve'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. And tonight, we thought it would be fitting to end on the words of Lo Yisa Goy, nation shall not take up sword against nation, they shall never again know war. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I am hoping you have a 25 hours of peace and joy and rest. And for God's sakes, turn off the news just for a little bit. Doesn't make it go away, but it gives us at least the strength to prepare for the next news cycle.
Yeah.
So Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Josh, for being on with us tonight. And whoever wants to hang out for a little bit and just schmooze, feel free to do so. It's so nice to see some faces I haven't seen in a while. Adrian, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
And Nancy and Dick and Carrie, Ed and Judy, Irene, Dina. Oh, so now the cameras come back on. Okay. I was like, I didn't even see you there.
Carol, tell us how many miles you're trying to get in 2021.
2021 miles. It's like walking from here to Chicago.
Hey.
How long every day did you have to walk to do that?
I walk about 6 miles a day.
Wow.
I didn't do as much last January, February. Once we started lockdown and I started teaching from my dining room table, I basically got up and walked for about an hour and a half each day after work.
That's quick.
Good for
Is it just
you.
around your house?
What?
Is it just around your house?
Oh, no. We walk all over the neighborhood. No, usually I walk outside. I only walk inside if it's after dark and Brian can't walk with me or if I'm on a call.
Sounds much better.
Yeah. Well, it's also been a good way to keep from gaining COVID weight.
Yes, Carol rubbed it in for all of us during the pre-nag that unlike many of us who've gained the COVID-19, she's lost 33 pounds.
Ooh. I've lost 10 or 12.
Nice.
So, because I can't travel. So I have to eat my own food.
That's the other thing is when you're completely cooking for yourself, you know, you don't eat all of the calories that you eat when you go out.
And I do an exercise class every morning and then I go for a walk. Not as much as you, Carol, but I do.
I do too, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost weight from all the hiking.
Yep.
One of the few things you can do right now.
I want to say, on the one hand, I mean, it was obviously this week was extremely distressing. On the other hand, I think it opened the eyes to a lot of people who were following blindly and saying, oh, this is okay, and this is okay, and this is okay, and are saying, no, this is not okay. And so I think a number of people have.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. And judging from what some people have said publicly, you know, Lisa, what's her name, from Alaska? You know, yeah. Who has said, if this is the Republican Party, I'm not a Republican. This is not acceptable. And a number of other Republicans who are just sort of accepting what's been going on are more willing to stand up. And I hope that continues. I hope that.
Well,
Ed and Irene, how are you?
Traditionally, conservative Republicans are strict constitutionalists.
That's
and
right.
So if you believe in following the Constitution, you can't condone what's going on.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'd like to second what Sandra said, that I see Wednesday as actually a kind of hopeful thing. I mean, it was a horrific event, but it opened people's eyes to, whoa, this is where we're heading. Is this where we want to go? And I think that was needed.
Adrian, have you been climbing mountains, you two?
Today we went on a hike. We didn't in December. We were too busy.
Yeah.
But we're back to it this month.
Good.
So we started off the new year hiking Poo Poo Point, which is a nice, easy one. And it was very beautiful today.
So Steve Fantle, how are are you a Packers fan these days or a Seahawks fan? Or is it a house divided?
The house divided.
Hey, who's the Packers fan? I'm
Steve
just
grew up in
saying.
Wisconsin. We'll give him that one. I understand.
Bears fan from Chicago.
Uh-uh.
Like you people travel everywhere. I have a mortal enemy even here. You guys and Cubs fans, y'all are everywhere.
Well, we give you a lot of credit for admitting you're a Bears fan, so there's that.
Well, it's like the family member who you love, even though you know they're not doing so well. It's like you just keep holding out hope for them.
Funny.
We actually made the playoffs, so we at least get another week before we lose.
Okay, this is my ignorance, but are professional sports actually happening?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like always
Money. It's
There
all,
just aren't
it's
any
all
people.
about the money.
Bread and circus. Bread and circus.
I thought it was really very clever that when the Mariners were playing, that you could buy.
Yeah.
That your picture
What was that?
appeared
What
in the
was
stand,
That noise.
and if a ball hit you, it would be mailed to you.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Oh yeah, and then they always, they sometimes have had a dog night. So then one night they had a dog night, and you could pay so that your dog's picture was in. Very clever money making methods.
They had to pay those salaries still.
Well, I'm glad the college kids got to play. I'm glad they got to play. Brian Kelly brought up something interesting. I'm also a Notre Dame fan. And so the parents got to watch the kids play their final season. So I'm glad the college kids got to play.
I like is that a music blanket or a music shirt or a music sweatshirt?
So we need audio.
Audio, Glenn, can't hear ya.
You're muted.
You're muted.
There we go. It's a music sort of a sweater thing, and then underneath I have a music sweatshirt.
Okay, so double. I was seeing tons of music. I couldn't quite tell what was what. Very nice, sir. I like it.
Thank you.
Oh,
And the nice thing is that the one underneath didn't fit me when I bought it, and now it fits. So that's awesome.
Hey.
There you go.
I can find him in the dark when he wears this. The services tonight, the new format. I really like the more interactive. It felt more community. So I really appreciate you and Donna and everyone else making this happen.
Well, we when we started with COVID, we were so worried that we didn't understand sort of the hiccups we might encounter, and obviously happened tonight as well. But
where's the food?
Much better than it was when we started. So we kind of know how to navigate it. So we just decided, let's go for it. And we hate, I mean, Josh would tell you, we hated doing services just by ourselves, like looking at basically an empty screen. This is much better for us as well.
Good. Yay.
I'm gonna get out of here. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah.
There were a few glitches tonight with the live stream.
Oh no.
Like it didn't show up on Facebook Live, and then the live stream itself kept timing out. We finally were able to get it by going to YouTube.
Yeah, that's why I was so late. I couldn't get it to play. I was trying, I didn't want to use my camera during the service because I was moving around cooking dinner. It's in the oven now. But that's why I was so late, because I couldn't get it to play on any of the other non-interactive channels. Like, yeah, Facebook wasn't working and the live stream wasn't working.
Yeah, Jermaine
if you
was
went to
my
the